I'm taking over Ground Zero Lounge for the first couple minutes here. Just want to take the time here to thank you all for coming out to Dante's Lounge for Ground Zero Lounge. And before I can ramble on anymore, let's go ahead and introduce him, the original hairy, scary guy and your host for Ground Zero Lounge, Clyde Lewis, and his special guest all the way from Australia, David John Oates. Clyde.
My God, I feel like I'm in Beaverton. Jesus.
Beaverton, what is that?
Beaverton is like, it's south here and all it is fog and cows and craziness. It's awesome. Did I hear awesome? It's exhaust. Yeah, something like that. Welcome to the Ground Zero Lounge. How's everybody doing? I can't see you from the box, so I gotta hear you. Let me hear you. My God, it's good to be here. And it's good to have with us David John Oates all the way from Australia. Thank you for coming out, David.
Great, mate. It's fantastic to be here.
How long has it been since I've seen you?
It's going to be 9 years.
It's been 9 years. 9 years.
Yeah.
David, when David and I first met, when Ground Zero first went on the air in 1995, one of the first things I did was I was playing songs backwards because I wanted to. My family used to always say that if you played songs backwards, you get satanic messages. And so I had a friend of mine who introduced me to David, and David was on one of my first shows, actually. You were like probably the third one in, and it was.
And our switchboard was jammed after I did the show. We called them the "Oh Wow" crowd. They kept on saying, "Oh, dude, that was just so cool. That backwards music started."
Yeah, exactly. And so it kind of was, Ground Zero was kind of like the kicking off ground. David then went on to bigger things like the Art Bell show. He went on to do the Jeff Wren show. And ever since then, the rest is history. And he's been doing Ground Zero for a long time. We just haven't seen each other since he went back to Australia. A lot of things happening in your life. You may want to tell us about what's been happening with you.
Oh dear, well, I just obviously I spent 9 years back in Australia. It was a pretty rough time. My son was killed, unfortunately, and then my daughter almost died, falling 70 feet from a shopping centre.
There were a lot of people that had their prayers with you too when Simone fell.
Yeah,
she fell 60 feet, or was it?
Yeah, 60 feet.
She fell 60 feet in the mall, and a lot of people were wishing well, and she's miraculously recovered.
She is just an amazing recovery. She's walking and talking and living independently. She's still got some residual damage to her, but that will gradually improve.
Now, was reverse speech was something that got her to learn to talk again?
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. I did some trance work on her. Where she did her reversals and build it into a trance to restructure the unconscious, and I think we had some good success.
Now, for those of you that don't know much about reverse speech, kind of an explanation. Reverse speech is one of those things that has been called the demon-haunted sentence of the unconscious mind. And what that means is that we all dream, we all have things that are deep inside of us, and those are things that we don't want the outside world to know about. And we keep them hidden inside of us, little thoughts that escape our minds, little electronic thoughts that we kind of keep to ourselves. And when we speak in forward what we truly say on the outward appearance, but deep inside of all of us, there are things that go on, and that's why you dream about beavers, and you dream about purple horses, and you dream about all that stuff. That's where reverse speech comes in, am I right? It comes from that area.
Yeah, it's coming from the deep unconscious level. It's built backwards into the sounds of our speech. The theory is that as authors are speaking, we're creating our speech sounds in such a way that we're saying two things at once, one forwards and one in reverse. And quite literally, if we take speech and run it backwards about once every 30 seconds or so, you can hear this very clear message amongst the gibberish. That is what we are thinking, both consciously as well as from the deep unconscious mind.
And there are some people who say that reverse speech, and David and I have talked about this. David knows, and it's still a science, and it still is open for questions. It's still open for ridicule, and a lot of people have given their ridicule on it.
Oh yeah, I've had my fair share of it.
Exactly. Because we all know that the mind can find stuff in the gibberish and put it together and make it work. However, one thing they don't bring up about the idea of what we're sensing and what we're feeling and what we're hearing is that it all seems to be congruent with the forward speech in some regard.
Yeah, absolutely correct. That's one of the first things that convinced me about the reality of the phenomenon was that the backward sentences would relate to what's been spoken forwards. I mean, someone was talking about playing golf today, you get backward messages about their golf game, not about the argument they had with their boss that day.
Sure.
So it's this contextual relationship that convinced me about the validity of this way back in 1987 when I first wrote my theory.
Tonight on the Ground Zero Lounge, David and I have decided that, you know, it's Halloween. We're getting nearer and nearer to Halloween, so we decided that we would dig up some of the more spooky of all the reversals. And of course, you know, back when we were kids, we were told that playing our records backwards were the first things that that started this all off. And I mean, and people were saying this was, and they do put intentional backwards masking in songs. Am I correct?
Yeah. There's two different types. One is the intentional backward masking that's done at the recording studio level, but then you have another backward message that is not placed there by the recording studio and is actually caused by the way the words are sung or spoken at the time.
Now, the famous song of all, and I guess you want to get that ready, is the Led Zeppelin song. One of the things about David is that in the Led Zeppelin song Stairway to Heaven, everyone knows that backwards part in there, a lot of people who are familiar with rock and roll, they hear backwards the words, "Here's to my sweet Satan." But David says that there is a backwards message that is seldom played that is found in the song Stairway to Heaven. And so we're going to start off with that song, Stairway to Heaven. We'll start with that part of the song. So David, explain away about this part of Stairway to Heaven.
Well, this is actually right at the very last stanza of Stairway to Heaven, and it's quite a clear backward message that most people never play on the radio shows. So you're hearing it for the first time here in the Ground Zero Lounge, and I'm going to pick this track up and play right at the very end of Stairway to Heaven. We're playing this forwards first off. Okay, I'm going to run that last track backwards and see if you can hear him say, play backward, hear words sung. The play is long and drawn out, but the backward, hear words sung is quite clear. We'll run it twice for you. And we'll play it one more time to slower speed. Now that's quite an amazing, because that's not intentional, that's unintentional. And it's quite ironic that Stairway to Heaven is probably one of the most popular backward songs of all time.
That's right.
It's got that really unusual backward message right at the very beginning.
And so a lot of people don't know that a lot of these things are done, and they're done because it comes out of the person's subconscious or the unconscious mind, the deep area where metaphors are made, where your dreams are made, and those types of things. I guess we can go now to the classic part of Stairway to Heaven, where everyone says that there's a satanic message there, and so we're going to play that right now, where you can hear him sing, "Here's to my sweet Satan." Now, what's the full one? Do you know?
Okay, yeah, here's the chords. I'll play the chords first. Here we go.
What's wrong? Okay, next one. Can you hear it okay?
In reverse, and see if you can hear him singing, "It's my sweet Satan, the one whose little path would make me sad." Sorry?
Let's go ahead.
Okay, alright, here we go. "It's my sweet Satan, the one whose little path would make me sad, whose power is fate." Classic section.
That's the classic one that everybody's familiar with, and that's the one that when I was a kid impressed me. Here's My Sweet Satan. Now, one of the songs, now, a lot of people don't know this, but the Judas Priest, how many people are familiar with the Judas Priest stained glass trial by applause, Ozzy Osbourne, and the kids that shot each other, and they said that backwards evil messages influenced them to do it, right?
Yes.
Well, David was consulted for that trial, were you not?
Yes, I was. I was consulted as a friend of the court because I was presenting both arguments, basically.
And so one of the things that David found when he was working with the Judas Priest music, he was finding reversals in Judas Priest music. And so there's a Judas Priest song, and this one always gives me the creeps. And I think this is a real creepy one for Halloween. It's a song called Beyond the Realms of Death by Judas Priest. And so, David, tell us about this reversal.
All right, this actually reversal is clearer backwards than it is forwards. So let's run the forwards first. He's singing forwards, Beyond the Realms of Death. Okay, so that's the forwards. Now we're going to run it backwards and see if you can hear him singing, I Took My Life. This is straight backwards, folks. That's a creepy one. Here, we'll do it again. Just a little bit slower. Here we go.
Yeah, I hear it. It gives me the creeps every time I hear it. Now, we're going to get off music in just a minute, but I do have my favorite that's not scary, and I don't know if you can dig it up for me. I think you know which one it is. It's the Britney Spears one.
Oh!
And this is one, for all you horny guys out there, this is one that's really going to, you know, it's really going to make... Now, what does Britney sing that every horny old man wants to hear backwards?
Sleep with me, I'm not too young.
Sleep with me, I'm not too young. I love that. And what is it forward?
You know what? I don't even know what the forward is. The first
Doesn't matter. It's Britney Spears.
Yeah.
Leave Britney alone. Leave her alone. Okay. Yeah.
You know what?
You don't have it.
I do have it somewhere.
Oh my God.
But it's not here. I can't see.
Masturbatory material will not play on the Ground Zero Lounge.
Oh dear me. No, look, it's not that.
Okay.
Regular.
Okay, it's not a regular place. I'm sorry I spoke that on you. Maybe we'll find it later, but yeah.
We'll find it during.
Yeah, we'll find it. We don't take a break.
Oh,
No, we go straight through. So if you happen to see it and you decide you want to just get everybody like worked up as soon as the alcohol takes effect, then fine, we'll do that. But in the meantime, one of the things about you found it. Good, here it is. Britney Spears for all you want to hear it. Here it is.
Okay, here we go forward. Sleep with me, I'm not too young.
Yeah. Let's hear it. Stay with me, I'm not too young. And now she's a mess.
Yeah,
she's a total mess now. No one wants to even get near her. She's got cooties now. That's what's really frightening is cooties and Britney Spears. Anyway, so, you know, the music spun, and that's where we all basically were exposed to this, I think. And that's why I decided to kick it off with the music, because when I was a kid, we had a way to play them backwards without having to use a computer program. We were using our fingers to make the records go backwards, and we were hearing all kinds of stuff on Beatles records, and we were hearing all kinds of stuff on Pink Floyd records and stuff, and meanwhile, David, you know, at the same time, dropped a tape recorder into a toilet, and that's when reverse speech happened. Am I right?
Yeah, that's exactly how it started. I took the tape from the toilet bowl, and I took it out, and then played backwards.
So, if anybody says reverse speech is shit, you never know. You never know. Anyway, no, it's really spooky when you really dig deep into the unconscious mind. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to show you and demonstrate for you how it's not just in record albums. that when a person speaks, and one of the, okay, now this is a creepy one, and even though it's unconventionally creepy, it's one of my favorites. I have a lot of favorites, and I'm going to just have you, the Kennedy one is very...
Oh, you like the Kennedy?
The Kennedy one, the reason why I like the Kennedy one so much, and I also like the Neil Armstrong one too. The Kennedy one, that's really, remember we were saying in the beginning of the introduction how speech, when it's reversed, is congruent with what's going on around the person if they have it going on in their unconscious mind? Well, imagine, if you will, standing in Dealey Plaza, watching Kennedy getting his head blown off in the middle of broad daylight in November of 1963. And you're a reporter, and you're on the news yelling and screaming that the president has been shot. And imagine what's going through your subconscious or your unconscious mind. And so David has the definitive reversal on this. Listen to this.
Okay, here we go. We're going to pick it up forward just before he realizes JFK's been shot.
Just a moment, please. Something has happened in the motorcade. Stand by, please. Parkland Hospital, there has been a shooting. Parkland Hospital has been advised to stand by for a severe gunshot wound. The president's car is now going past speed. The limousine is now traveling at a very high rate.
Okay, now right when he realises JFK's been shot, and this is exact section forwards,
Parkland Hospital, there has been a shooting.
we hear him say in reverse, he's shot bad, hold it, try and look up. So you've got three congruent, coherent sentences all together. I'm going to run this straight backwards, we'll run at two different speeds for you, and here we go. And that's straight backwards.
Yes. You notice how it was from inside. That's what he was witnessing. And that's where you start realizing the reverse speech may have some reality to it. Because how do you get from, Parkland Hospital, the president's been shot, to he's shot bad, try and look up, hold it, try and look up. The same thing goes for, and I have debated with David on what this means, but when Neil Armstrong set foot on the moon, he gave his famous speech, "One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind."
Okay, here's these famous first words run forwards. Let's go.
That's one small step for man. One giant leap for man.
Now, one of the things that David says is that the reversal is...
A future tense reversal?
Well, I say it's a future tense reversal, and because it says man will spacewalk, as opposed to he is spacewalking.
That is correct. There is that little question mark around the whole thing.
Right.
Did we indeed walk on the moon? And is he saying we will continue to walk, or did we not walk on the moon? And he's saying one day we will.
So here's the reversal on this famous speech.
Man will spacewalk. Straight backwards.
Man will spacewalk.
And here it is forwards
That's one small step for man.
and backwards.
Man will spacewalk.
So there you go. It's up for controversy. It's up for debate. So reverse speech. One of the things that when I got to know David a little more, I began to understand some things about dyslexia and how people can see words in reverse. How the mind takes from what you see and changes it from being upside down to right side up. And I began to realize, what if it's done phonetically? What if the brain senses what is going backwards and forwards, and we're doing it all in the same time span? Which means that what comes from inside of us is going out to people. And have you ever been around somebody that you know is just full of shit, and you know it for some reason, and you're trying to figure out why, or you know this person is a bad person, you're trying to figure out why? The reason why you might be feeling this way is because their forward speech and the reversal speech is probably sending you that message. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, thanks, Clyde. I have a question. My sister and a very good friend of hers for years could have entire conversations speaking backwards.
Oh, really?
Just flat out, they get on the phone and they just talk for hours and hours speaking backwards.
Right.
In a lot, they're fascinating to listen to, but in a lot of those conversations, I've never actually heard words. I mean, I've never actually...
So they're actually phonetically reversing the speech.
Yeah. Now, why in these type of situations why isn't it phonetically going backwards?
Yeah, look, the brain, that's an unusual function of the brain, and some people do that. There's quite a lot of documentation around people who can do that. Why that is so, I don't know. It's just an unusual quirk.
That's what makes this so amazing, is because phonetically you can say things. Like, for example, I always joke with David that if you say Jesus loves you, backwards it's we smell sausage. It's weird.
Hey, I've got a reversal play on that whole theme about I'm so full of shit. You remember?
Oh yeah, go ahead and find that. I'm so full of shit.
Thank you.
I've got to play this reversal.
Okay, play that reversal.
Yeah, okay, because Clyde was saying when you're talking to someone and you just feel that they're full of shit. Well, here's a guy I was going to do business with, and he's telling me how he's going to sell my books for me. So here we go.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree. That way we contain sole rights to the books. They're channeled to us. Now, are you always going to be publishing this book?
And we run this in reverse, and he says, quite literally, I'm so full of shit.
And so full of shit. And so full of shit.
And again.
And so full of shit.
So not a man you want to do business with.
No, not at all. So if you want to know who you're doing business with, just bring your tape recorder, play it backwards, and find out if he's full of shit. Pretty much. But that's the thing, is that we wonder, and speaking of the phonetics, so back to your question about that, Scott, the phonetics here, that's what gets me, and that's why I'm thinking it does come from the subconscious mind. You know, people don't know this, but animals also have certain things they send out phonetically. I was told that cats, at times, when they meow, there are parts of the cat's meow that you don't hear. And there are certain communications that animals have with human beings that you don't understand forward, but yet the animal is being exposed to your speech all the time. So sometimes if an animal speaks, like for example a cat meows at you, if you play the animal backwards, sometimes that animal speaks. And that's something that David's been experimenting with a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, here's a parrot. Listen to this. Now backwards he goes, there's one heaven. You hear that there?
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And do you have a dog or a cat that does any speaking?
Boy, yes I do actually. I don't normally play these in public. Here we have a dog. Now backwards, what's the poor doggy saying? He's saying, hear me.
Isn't that amazing?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right backwards.
It's right backwards, saying here, the dogs are exposed to your voices. And I was at a seminar once with David, and we were interviewing a guy who was from Mexico. And as he was speaking to us, we played his reversals backwards at the seminar. And I had heard him say, "Mi corazón está enferma." Now, I speak Spanish, and I understood it plain as day. And so I decided to throw out to the crowd. I asked the guy, I says, "Is your heart sick? Do you have some heart problems?" He says, "Yes, I just had a heart attack. I was out of the hospital." And so there are many things that your body sometimes says through reverse speech. I had a friend of mine who got some reverse speech therapy from David, and she kept hearing throughout her reversals that she needed more oxygen, that she had a hard time breathing. Come to find out, she was developing pneumonia in her body. So that's one of the ways that reverse speech can be used to find out what's really going on inside the unconscious mind. One man who gives me the creeps and makes me feel kind of uneasy, makes a lot of people feel uneasy, and I talked about him here on the stage a couple weeks ago, basically pointing out that this man is a psychopath, is O.J. Simpson. Now we know that O.J. Simpson got off on the trial at first, but then, of course, in the civil courts, he was convicted of killing Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. Now, David had, and this was one of the first reversals I heard, and some of the reversals that he played on the shows originally when he was on Ground Zero were very creepy because they expounded upon certain cases that were going on at the time. We were at a time when I worked at KCNR where we were doing OJ 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So David had a lot of material he could get on O.J. Simpson. And he was recording O.J. left and right, and we really, really uncovered some very frightening things about O.J. Simpson. And it's more than just beating people up for memorabilia on eBay. Take a listen to some of this stuff.
All right, this is a little clip from his interview with the police 24 hours after the crime. And he's saying forward what he wants us to believe. So here we go.
And I come home and leisurely got ready to go. You know, I mean, what else you
So he's saying for as I got home, I leisurely got ready to go, but backwards we hear what he really did, and he says, I killed them high. You hear that there? And there's another really creepy one on OJ, which I'll pull up. This is his, he was interviewed on BET television just shortly after the crime. And he says a really ironic thing forwards about tape recorders. He's saying, be very careful recording yourself.
Put a tape recorder on, and next time you have an argument and play it back, you will not believe that was you.
He says in reverse, I skinned them all. Here we go.
Now, I skinned them all. I skinned them all. I skinned them all.
Some pretty creepy reversals on OJ, if he did it, which we pretty much know, right? I mean, if you believe what reverse speech tells you, then OJ was basically a criminal, and that he did the crime. There was also some, I remember that a while back, John Mark Carr, if you remember that character. John Mark Carr we had here talking about the Ground Zero Lounge, and he said that he killed JonBenet Ramsey. And we had, we basically knew that they took him out of Thailand, and we thought that he was an agent, a CIA agent, that he was with the CIA. And we played a couple reversals of that here, and we were talking about reverse speech at the time, and we didn't have David here to back up some of the things that they found on John Mark. Did you bring any John Mark cards?
I'm looking.
You didn't have any?
Now. I know I did reversals on him. I've got a YouTube video up, and I'm just trying to find it.
Okay, and in the meantime, back when the JonBenet Ramsey case was hot, we, of course, being a news station, we were playing a lot of clips of Nancy, of Pat Ramsey and the Ramseys, and one of the things that we came up with is that Patsy Ramsey, even though John Mark Carr confessed, we were saying we need to apologize to Patsy because she didn't commit the murder, but yet we have reversals that state otherwise, or that she was at least there when the murders took place. And so, David, you got the old reversals of Patsy Ramsey.
Yeah, I've got a couple of doozies. Actually, we'll play a couple on her. And the first one I'm going to play is she said something really strange forward. She feels there's at least two people out there who knows who committed this crime.
We feel like there are at least two people on the face of this earth that know who did this. And that is the killer and someone that person may have confided in.
That was, she says, I'm that person.
I'm this person.
I'm this person.
She sends children to
I'm this person.
And there's another one that's equally as damning. She's saying, I don't know that we've ever met anyone who could be this vicious. So here's this forward.
I can't believe that we have ever knowingly met anyone that can be this vicious.
That what she says, I'm the only one.
I'm the only one.
I'm the only one. I'm the only one.
Now these are clear as hell, don't you think? By applause? Do you think? And now she's dead, we don't know. But I mean, you know, and what we get from a lot of the reversals is that perhaps she knew, either she was involved or she knew who was involved with the JonBenet Ramsey killing. In fact, she said something about seeing the rape, or there was a reversal about that she was there, saw the rape happen, whatever it was, the beating, the killing. And after reading a lot of material in crime novels and a lot of novels by Adam Parfrey, I was convinced that what David had was the real story behind JonBenet and what happened. Did you have that reversal?
Yeah, I've got that one right here, and we'll just run that whole lot backwards and see if you can hear her say, "You see that rape."
Ja, okay, Mr. At enormous pro, if then this new I'm at the service at the all people wish to see that area.
There it is, seen that rape right at the very end.
See that area. See that area.
Seen that rape. You see, and he played, what was interesting, you don't get all that, you don't get that usually on the radio. He played the full reversal for you so you could hear how it jumps out at you when you're listening to the reversals, and how when you're going through them, and then you play them forward, and sometimes the reversal comes before they even say it. That's another example that I find interesting, is that sometimes when a person speaks, you hear the reversal, and then they say it forward. It's like they were making it in their mind before they said it. It comes out there. It's an amazing thing the way that works. And so those are some of the chilling reversals that we wanted to start the show off with tonight, about criminals and crime and music, and it doesn't stop there, David. Yeah, where do you want to go to now?
You know what? We'll just do one more on crime. This is Scott Peterson, who's currently sitting on death row for the murder of his wife. Now, the interesting thing is they actually don't know how he killed his wife. The body was washed up on shore and she was decapitated. But I got a reversal on Scott Peterson that maybe tells us exactly how he did kill his wife.
Okay.
So reporters asking him, did you murder your wife?
Did you murder your wife? No, I did not.
And where he says, no, I did not, in reverse he says, neck, I hit hard.
Neck, I did hard.
And again.
Neck, I did hard.
Okay, so I think what he did was he hit her hard on the back of the neck.
When he decapitated her.
In sentence, she was decapitated and the head was never found.
Some fascinating stuff right there. Scott Peterson, of course, on death row for the murder of his wife. So, it's the demon-haunted sentence of the mind, what you're hearing here tonight at the Ground Zero Lounge. Yes, go ahead.
So it's not necessarily the words backwards, but the inflection, the way the pauses?
Yeah, that's exactly correct. Yeah, it's to do with the pauses and the stutters and stammers of speech. Two people can say exactly the same sentence and you get different reversals because there's different voice patterns. I can say, I'm talking to you now, or I can say, I'm talking to you now.
So like subconscious confessions almost.
Yeah, exactly correct. The subconscious, the moment before you're speaking, the subconscious is changing the sounds of your speech to specifically deliver this three-verse phrase.
That's amazing. Clyde.
Yes.
A few weeks ago, you had played something over a loudspeaker that was supposed to be a transmission from somewhere else,
right,
from the great beyond.
Right.
And I was curious, or my friend was curious, have you ever tried a reversal of that?
Reversing ghost voices or reversals of the...
It wasn't the ghost voice. It was...
the Saturn thing. I haven't reversed that yet, no.
Yeah.
But, David has been called in, and we can move into this now since we're moving into more spooky reversals. David has been called in to investigate EVP, electronic voice phenomena. For those of you that don't know what electronic voice phenomena is or are new to ghost hunting, electronic voice phenomena is when you call out to the spirits, and when you call out to them, they talk back to you. And sometimes when we've gone out on ghost hunts, Aaron, Sadie, I think Sadie, I saw her come in, Jim, yeah, hi. We've gone out on ghost hunts before, and we picked up voices, and they say absolutely nothing forward, but then when we reverse them, we get something. I remember there was one that said, it said, I hear you, and then played it backwards, it said, see you die. I hear you, see you die. It was really spooky when we played it backwards. So each way, the reversal was kind of frightening. And so David has some EVP for us tonight, ghost voices that when played in reverse. Aaron, you want to say something before we go in here?
Yeah, I wanted to bring up some EVPs that played in reverse. A couple years ago, Clyde, Sadie, and my wife Janet, some friends of us, we went to the Lone Fir Pioneer Cemetery, which is just off Morrison. And I don't know how many people know this, that last year they did an archaeological dig because where their building used to stand by the cemetery was a lot of Chinese people were buried there in unmarked graves. And we got some EVP that night of roughly in that area, and we heard it, it's not really clear, but in English we just heard words like, we are forgotten, we're not here. And we ended up playing them backwards just to see what we had, and the person in the studio spoke Cantonese, and she heard, how come we're forgotten? That's when we played it back. She heard it in Cantonese, why are we forgotten? And a year later, they find out that they're digging out unmarked graves in that area.
It was weird because we had it in the English playing, but then playing backwards, it was in Cantonese. And that is why, reverse speech is more, you can say what you will. People who aren't immersed in it can stand back and say, well, you can hear anything in that gibberish, or you can make up anything, and David suggests it, and all this other. But we've done experiments with reverse speech and EVP where forwards it's been plain and backwards it's been in a different language, or forwards it's been unheard and we couldn't tell, and backwards it was there. So David, give us an example of EVP, ghost phenomenon.
All right, well these EVPs I've got was actually found at my final training class, and a group of us was just sitting in the room talking, and as we were talking, and there was just a couple, 2 or 3 of us talking, there was no one else in the room, and we got these little voices in the background giving us encouragement. So here's one that says, be courageous. You can hear the little whisper in the background. I'll do that right there. Here we go. Well, that gave you guys a treat, huh? Hear that little there? Be courageous. And I think this is spirits of some sort giving us some advice in our final graduation class. Here's one that says, honour. See that there? Honour, right in the background. Yeah, and there was no one else there. And the ironic thing was, this was our final graduation class, and it's almost like spirits are coming in saying, hey, listen, you know, be courageous, have honour, go at this in a strong fashion. And it was quite spooky and eerie for us in your class.
When you have your EVPs and you find them, they are frightening, and sometimes, and a lot of people, you know, a lot of the time you hear people have EVPs on and say things like get out and all this other stuff. Most of the time we find EVPs that are sad and unhappy and lost and wanting to find their way out, and they can't, and they seem to be lost in this world, which kind of gives me the idea that, you know, they're here with us, and either they're here, they're lost, like most people say, go to the light. I say, don't go to the light, it's a fucking trap. It is, man. I swear to God, going to the light is what it is God is some guy eating a moon pie and it's a bug zapper and you're fucked. Something. Anyway. Something, yeah. But, you know, most of the time, though, these ghosts are trying to find lost loved ones. They're trying to recover their families. If you wanted to get into genealogy, go ghost hunting. You'll find a lot more out by talking to ghosts than you would going through, you know, papers at the Mormon church or whatever. Speaking of Mormons, do you have that?
Yeah.
Okay. Mitt Romney, of course, is running for president of the United States, and we're not going to do a reversal on him, sorry. We don't have reversals on Mitt Romney, but we do have a big reversal on the president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. His name is Gordon B. Hinckley, the prophet of the church. He's been on Larry King. He's made a lot of public appearances. He's the prophet of the church. I'm from Utah, and boy, I tell you, every 6 months we basically sit in our homes in our pajamas. We looked forward to not going to church, and we'd eat Captain Crunch and sleep in, and the parents would watch that boring shit, and we'd hear something like this come over the TV set. Here we go.
All right, here we go. Here's Gordon B. Hinckley.
That we have a beautiful day here in Salt Lake City. It is absolutely magnificent weather, and how grateful we are for it.
Okay, now we run him in reverse, and he's saying backward, they're all for our evil feared one.
They're all for our evil feared one. They're all for our evil feared one.
That makes you think, Clyde.
Yeah. Hail Satan. Yeah, I hope my parents are going to disown me for that one.
Here's here's another one. Here's a TV evangelist.
Great things for him, and I can do great things today. My friend, it just narrows itself down what he said to Simon Peter, but to see at Galilee, lovest thou me.
Now listen, after you hear this reversal, you're never going to want to go to your local pastor again. He says backwards, my advice is rancid.
My advice is rancid. My advice is rancid. My advice is rancid.
There you go.
Now, didn't you have a few of like Billy Graham?
Oh yeah,
I mean, even Billy Graham does not escape reverse speech, and what he says backwards is kind of amazing too.
Here we go.
I'm going to ask that we all bow our heads in prayer.
And the poor Billy Graham, he says backwards, how I bore you.
How I bore you. How I bore you. How I boy.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Jeff.
Obviously, you've had to scour hours and hours worth of audio. How do you know what point to take and try reverse? I mean, just listen all the time and just pick up little things.
Oh yeah, I'm constantly listening. I've been doing this for 24 years now. This is
all right.
Yeah.
It is your birthday, isn't it?
It is my birthday.
Oh my God! Happy birthday!
Thank you.
I've got to say, I'm intrigued. I a little shameless self-promotion. Aaron and I do a podcast every week called FilmFeverRadio.com.
Okay.
Hey, Film Fever.
Yeah.
Drunken commentary. Yeah.
But often we interview actors and directors and filmmakers. And a few weeks ago, we got to interview Jerry Seinfeld.
Okay.
And we've got probably a good hour's worth of material. I'm telling you, I'm going back tonight. I'm going to plug in that interview and just listen really hard. It's fascinating. So I got to say, I'm very impressed with the work you've done.
Oh, thank you.
It's very creepy, but impressive as hell. So
thank you,
John. Thank you. Is there somebody else who wants to say something? Oh, Michael Goodspeed. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Goodspeed, one of the original producers of Ground Zero Radio, and he's featured as a writer on Jeff Brent's website.
I just wanted to point out that, like if people are going to be doing this, if you want to find good, clear reversals, you have to stick reversing speech that is extemporaneous and highly emotional.
Yeah.
I started doing this around 1999, and I was, in the years that I've spent exploring this, I've actually never found what I think is a clear, valid reversal on a person who is reading from a script. And if skeptics say these are just coincidental sounds, why do you only find these in the extemporaneous speech? I mean, that wouldn't make any sense. But, in the extemporaneous emotional speech, it's occurring 100 times more frequently.
Well, one of the examples of what Michael Goodspeed has to say is so true. One of the examples of how extemporaneous speech or emotional speech can produce great reversals was an example of when David was doing a session. He was doing a psychological session with a client, and what had happened is his house caught on fire. This was big news. His house had caught on fire, and so he was tape recording the session. And here's what it sounded like the day David's house caught on fire.
Okay, so you can hear me talking to my client, and then my secretary runs in the room and says, "David, the house is on fire." Here we go.
The house images are set to what?
Yes? What? Now you can hear the emotion in her voice. Now this is what we call a mirror image reversal, which says almost exactly the same thing backwards. And in reverse she says that the house is on fire, our house is on fire. That's backwards. So here it is forwards. This is the forwards. And this is the backwards. So, why is she saying the same thing? Well, obviously, the house was on fire, and the emotions were really, really high.
Right, exactly. So, what's inside is coming out. Deep inside of you is the alarm, and it also, like I showed up with the Kennedy one, the emotions were there, and it was basically about a man being shot. It's the same thing. Go ahead, Doug.
I was wondering if, David, did you investigate the Bush-Kerry debates in 2004 or the Bush-Gore debates in 2000?
Yes, in fact, I've got a complete analysis up on my website. If you want to go to reversespeech.com, and there's over 6,000 examples of reversals on there. There's a complete analysis of the Bush-Kerry debates up on the site.
He's done many politicians, actually. David has reversed a few of them. He's reversed, in fact, when he was on the Geraldo show, he reversed a lot of Bill Clinton and a lot of his, back when he was being questioned for his sexual escapades and things of that nature. And I don't know if you can dig some of those reversals out of the archives and blow some dust off of them. But in fact, we have a very interesting one of Bill Clinton tonight that we want to play for you. But go ahead and give us an example of how Bill Clinton is in reverse speech.
Here's a funny one I found on Bill Clinton. This is 2 weeks after the whole Monica Lewinsky scandal broke, and he's in Ireland, and the reporters who reported on Bill Clinton was saying he seemed preoccupied. Something else was on his mind. So anyway, so here's the forwards.
Now, come on, you all voted for the agreement now, and everything's, you know, basically going in the right direction.
And he says in reverse, they're all boring me, Monica.
They're all boring me, Monica. They're all boring me, Monica.
So you can see what's on his mind.
They're all boring me, Monica.
Tell me, Monica, get me out of here.
But tonight we have a very scary reversal for Halloween from Bill Clinton that David just got a hold of. And David, tell us about this one.
Yeah, this is Bill Clinton campaigning for his wife. Okay, so here it is forwards.
So I have no idea I wound up doing this, but my foundation gives me a platform and an organization to take these things on.
And he says backwards, I am Satan.
I am Satan.
You like that one? Vote for Bill and Hillary.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. And so deep inside, these are some metaphors that are running through Bill Clinton, and we've talked about the Clintons and the Bushes, and this isn't politically charged either, because I mean David's been an equal opportunity offender on all sides with several other candidates, and demonstrating that every single one of them have really dark lives and dark souls.
Yeah, this is what George Bush really thinks about the United States Congress. Here we go forward. He's talking about the Congress.
There's time to get all this done. We look forward to working with the members of Congress to get it done. I'll answer a couple of questions starting with Form A of the AP.
Where he actually says forwards, I look forward to working with the members of Congress, it says in reverse, choke the fuckers now.
Choke the fuckers now.
And he did pretty much that. Yeah, I hear the applause. Yeah, that's great. And so a lot of the political. Do you have any other political figures?
I got so many.
Let's hear let's hear about how evil our political figures are.
I know what. Hey, listen. Does anyone want to know what the Skull and Bones Society is all about? Right?
How many want to hear about Skull and Bones?
All right. Okay. Here's John Kerry, and he's being asked about the Skull and Bones. So we'll run this forward.
Skull and Bones, a secret society. Yeah. What does that tell us? Not much, because it's a secret. Is there a secret handshake? Is there a secret code? I wish there were something secret I could manifest. 322, secret number? There are all kinds of secrets.
And he says in reverse, I am the God who gives you my soul.
I am the God who gives you my soul. I am the God who gives you my soul.
So I think that's telling us some of the secrets behind the Skull and Bones. They see themselves as divine, godlike creatures who are giving their soul to the society, and they all end up in positions of power.
Yeah, they all end up in positions around an owl dressed naked and dancing. Screwy guy. David, what else do you have for us tonight? We were going to get really down and dirty and creepy with some very creepy reversals tonight as we move through the demon-haunted sentence of the mind.
All right, okay. Look, here's one on. Here's a satanic message in rock and roll. And backwards, I love Satan within.
That's good.
You know what we should do on Halloween night? We should play Popeye the Sailor Man. I tell you,
that's very Halloween, David.
Oh yeah, you wait to hear the rest of it. I'll see if I can. Actually, see if I can put it on my grab it as fast as I can.
How many files have you collected over the 24 years? Do you have any idea?
Oh.
Have you counted them? Have you the megas? Where do we go from megabytes to?
Well, I've got my
terabytes. Do you have terabytes?
No, I'm up to 500 gigabytes of
500 gigs of backup files. So that's a lot of stuff.
All right, this is Popeye the Sailor Man on Halloween.
I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm like the Sailor Man.
was give me a fuck now.
Oh, yes, yeah, oh, yes, yeah, now.
Now we can do it one more time.
These are things that you don't hear on the radio, people.
Oh, no, actually, well, yeah, because see, when people come to my live lectures, I play all the reversals I can't play.
What was really funny is back in the day, and this is the truth, back when Ground Zero was on K-Bear, back in Salt Lake City, I would play the Dirty Ones on the air. And I'd have fuck, shit, you name it. I'd have them go on the air. And David says, are you sure you want to do that? And I said, yes. And I said, I'll tell you why. Because if I get an FCC complaint, and somebody says, I heard the word fuck coming out of a reversal, I'll say, oh, really? You heard the word fuck? So that means reverse speech is real? So I wanted somebody to at least complain so I could at least point out that, yes, people are hearing the reversals and it's not gibberish and they're hearing it fine. Go ahead.
Okay, I may be treading on some shaky ground here. But have you got any reversals of Art Bell?
Oh. Jim, you go where I dare not go. Where I've been told not to go.
Yes, I confirm you're walking on shaky ground. Yes, you are. For those of you who know my history, I was sued by Art Bell for $60 million for defamation, but I sued him back for $140 million, and we actually settled out of court. He apologised to me, and I apologised to him. But I do have some reversals on Art Bell.
Are you going to play some reversals of Art Bell on this show, or no?
No, probably not.
Okay, he's not going to do it. I don't want Art Bell to sue my ass either, because I'm just as poor. And
you don't want to get Ramona.
I'll tell you what.
Oh my God.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, well, I remember the whole Art Bell fiasco, and I got involved with you just like maybe 6 months. And you were getting ready at that point already to go back to Australia because you knew that the bridges had been burned down here in the U.S.
Yes.
But it was in 1998. You were presenting reversals on TWA 800.
Oh, yes.
You were presenting reversals on the NASA secret space program. You were presenting reversals on the, quote, suicide of Vince Foster. I mean, remember all the stuff that happened in your life. You had the shooting at your office, the house fire. And so when Art Bell all of a sudden just decided, well, no, I can't have David Oates on the show anymore. In fact, I even remember you even have a reversal to the effect of Art Bell saying, this whole war is fake. You know, I'm not even really mad at David. I'm just I'm following my orders.
It was a very strange and bizarre thing, and there was a lot of series of very strange circumstances that forced me out of the United States back home to Australia in '99.
You know, what's really odd is that one of the things about David is, you know, a lot of what David has done has raised the eyebrows, I guess, of many organizations. I guess the CIA named one, the NSA another. I mean, one of the things that David did accidentally, and this is what got him the most fame, was that David had revealed unwittingly the secret plans of the United States government to invade Iraq in the Gulf War back when George Sr. was about to do Desert Storm. And one of the things he did is he was just doing this by accident, and someone was. And how did that happen? And you got investigated, right?
Oh man, that was a hell of a story. Well, I just made contact with a chap in Washington by the name of Scott Jones, who's employed by Congress to seek out new technology to bring them into mainstream. So he come down to my house in Dallas and spent a week with me and was super impressed with the whole reverse speech technology. He went back to Washington and we set up a series of lectures. I was going to be lecturing to the CIA and the FBI, and actually those lectures did actually take place. Oh, long story. But anyway, at the same time, things were hotting up in the Gulf. This is before Operation Desert Storm began.
Right.
And I found reversals on George Bush Sr. that talked about some of his plans. And I'll play two of them. We'll play an innocent one first. So here's George Bush.
I think things are moving in the right direction, and we're pleased so far with the solidarity, cohesiveness of the economic actions that have been taken.
And this reversal says, sent the Seahawk up.
Sent the Seahawk up.
And then,
Sent the Seahawk up.
so the Seahawk is an attack helicopter on aircraft carriers, so here we have him issuing one of his orders. And this is a reversal that got me into trouble. It's a rather innocuous word. I didn't know what it meant at the time. Let's run it forwards.
But we must recognize that Iraq may not stop using force to advance its ambitions. Iraq has massed an enormous war machine on the Saudi border.
And this reversal says, Simone in the sands.
Simone in the sands.
And again.
Simone in the sands.
And I didn't know what Simone meant, but Scott Jones wrote a confidential memo to then Defence Secretary Dick Cheney, telling him all about reverse speech, this word, Simone. You know, somehow the memo was leaked to the press, and overnight reverse speech with headlines all over the world, with headlines, what is reverse speech? It's a present hiding secret code word. That was in his speech. And subsequently found out that Simone was an Arabic word that means a dust storm in the desert or desert storm. So what I had found was a code word that they were using for Operation Desert Storm.
Exactly.
My phone went off the hook within a few minutes of this hitting the press.
Sometimes you accidentally stumble onto something, and that's what reverse speech is all about, is stumbling on what's going on up here and inside, deep down. Go ahead, Steve.
And also, I have a question in regards to all that. Is there any training?
Lie, but you can get them to reveal specific information.
Well, the actual question was, were they doing this purposely? Were they saying these things purposely?
Do you think that Bush was saying that purposely to
No,
send
I
out code?
No, I don't think
It was still just the subconscious, but
it was just the unconscious speaking.
But they can program people now to put reversals in certain words and certain sentences. Sometimes I wonder about that about rap tunes, about hip hop tunes. Fuck you. Nothing wrong with that. You know, it's true. I mean, some of it's bullshit, like Kanye West. What the fuck is that shit, right?
I think it's subconscious, just like the other stuff.
Well, I'm not saying that they purposely put it in. What I'm saying is, like you said, maybe they can program certain hip hop artists to say certain things and say certain codes, because they used to do that with songs back in the 40s and 50s. If they sang songs about the purple clouds over such and such, or beat bop, boot bop, beat 'em bottom, what 'em chew. Nobody knew what the fuck that was, but FDR
Why
knew
would
what it
they
was.
have to, though, man? If it's ass, tits, me, that is the top 40 songs, why would they have to do anything else?
Because they can send it out innocuously through code in a top 40 song. I mean, you know, I know who is, she is, he is, we are all together. I mean, come on, what the fuck is that? I mean, the Beatles, of course, were involved with all kinds of scary shit, and Charles Manson heard it, you know, turn me on, dead man, you got that, don't you?
Yeah, you remember Saturday Night Live, and it was Kevin Nealon doing the subliminal guy?
Yeah, I mean, Charles Manson on the White Album heard all kinds of creepy shit. I mean, you know, how many people have played the White Album backwards? Anybody? Like, anybody try that? Nobody? Man, I did that all the time, man. I want to know why.
You used to scare the hell out of me by doing it.
Yeah, I used to play it for Aaron. Here's some stuff from the White Album. Listen to this.
Number 9, number 9, number 9, number 9, number 9, number 9, number 9.
Backwards, it's turn me on, dead man, turn me on, dead man. It sounds forward, but it's backwards.
It's backwards. How do you get Turn Me On, Dead Man out of number 9?
But you know, the interesting thing that happened as a result of the whole Beatles thing is that teenagers around the world started playing records backwards to
Yes.
find these hidden messages. And they started to find other messages that were not supposed to be there. And so they're going, well, how is this getting there? Where are all these strange messages coming from? And of course the group said, well, we didn't put them there. And so the fundamentalist Christians came on the bandwagon and said, oh, the devil's doing it.
Right.
possessing the minds of our singers.
And the thing that's interesting, if you play that entire track where you're Turn Me On, Dead Man, you actually hear a man dying when the playback in a
it's supposed to be a fire where Paul McCartney is dying in a fire.
Yeah.
And the 9 is McCartney's got 9 letters in his last name.
Right. But the thing that's interesting is that it prompted Manson to go on his rampage, and what he wanted to bring about was Revelation number 9. When it was Revolution number 9. And Revelation number 9, of course, is the scriptures that talk about the destroying angel that comes and destroys humankind, Apollyon, Abaddon, and that's in chapter 11. Revelation chapter 9, verse 11. Go ahead.
I've got a couple of questions. First, have you ever found it to be prophetic in what you've heard?
Oh yeah, sure, quite a few times.
I mean, to the point where, they, perhaps like your subconscious is sensing what's coming.
Yes.
And it's trying to get it out there.
Yes.
And then the other question I had is, do you think it can be used as like a trigger mechanism? Like reverse speech can be purposely used to activate, someone to carry out an act?
Let's tackle the last question first. The interesting thing is we've done a series of electroencephalograph testing where we've played reverse speech to independent subjects. For start, the brain is receiving and responding to reversals. We can see different parts of the brain being stimulated. But the interesting thing is the concentration level either goes up or down on specific reversals, which tells me that there is an unconscious freedom of choice whether you accept or reject the message of reversal. So whether it can be used for mass programming, I'm not convinced if that's the purpose of the question. So, and what was the first question again?
Prophetic image.
Oh, right, yeah. I've seen reverse speech being prophetic many, many times. There's a whole category of reversals that I call future tense reversals that will predict some event coming up in someone's future. And it can predict it either days or weeks in advance. So I'm trying to see if I've got an example of this one. Yeah, look, here's one. Here's a businessman who's talking about his business.
And developing relationships with customers and prospects is not uncomfortable for me, but...
and he says backwards, there'll be an awful fuck-up.
There'll be an awful fuck-up.
Okay, so that's what we call a future tense reversal. Now, 2 weeks after I found this reversal, this guy messed up a client's order quite badly, and he got fired. So the reverse speech accurately predicted into his future. So, and I've seen this in many occasions, and I have a lot of clients who are business people, and before they make a major deal, they will ring up my office and look for a recording whether the deal will be a success or not.
Now you just revealed some reversals. I just stumbling through a few of the newer ones that you have. People in the news right now. You have some of Paris Hilton when she got out of jail and what she had to say about her stay in the prison system. Just to give you an idea of what some of our celebrities are thinking about right now. The ones that are being interviewed by Larry King and several other people. What did Paris Hilton have to say about her stay in prison?
Oh, she has some funny reversals to say about the stay in prison, and I'm pulling them up right now. There's one here where she, well, you know what, it's not in that documentary. Well, that's really weird. Hang on, don't worry, I'll find it. There's one where she's really praising the police force and saying how good they were, and in reverse, she says, okay, here's the forwards.
How well were you treated?
Everyone at the LA County, all the sheriffs were very professional. I was treated like any other inmate, no better, no worse.
So all the sheriffs were very professional, treated like any other inmate, and she says in reverse, damn, they're lame.
And they're lame. And they're lame.
So there we go.
She was very sincere, Paris Hilton.
Yeah, very
we all knew that about Paris, didn't we? Very sincere woman. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, I was going to say the great thing about the medium that we're doing with the fact it's on the internet. You can get away with any of this on our bell, I mean, how many times I said fuck or shit on our reversals? We're going to play reversals that you wouldn't be able to do on more mainstream media. So I just want to give a hand to that. I want to give and throw listeners on the internet.
Stand for swearing.
And also, and something I want to say to everybody here, just in the Dante's audience, some of these things aren't coming through as clear on the speakers as they could be because it's being mic'd, but I'm after monitoring this with my headphones, and I'm hearing them a lot clearer, so do listen to the rebroadcast of this on the internet. You will hear a lot of the stuff a lot more clear than you're hearing it here, because the way I'm hearing it through my headphones is the way it's going to go to the internet. And it's a lot more clear than it is coming out of these speakers.
And they can be heard on www.ideocast.com. We try to get them up as quick as possible. Usually within the week we get them up and try to get them on the server and out to people so they can hear what we do here at the lounge. And we get a lot of people from all over the world listening to us, and we're very happy to be broadcasting this type of stuff to the world. Go ahead, Bob. Do you have something you have to say?
I was just curious if you had any reversals on Hillary. Because she seems to me so well controlled in her speech that she'd be very difficult to get them from.
I've got a few on her. Nothing of any great note that you really say they're wonderful reversals. I'll do more as the time gets closer.
And I was also curious about Iran. You had stuff Iraq. Are there any interesting reversals about the coming war with Iran?
I've got nothing about the war with Iran at all. I looked for them, but I haven't been able to find anything yet. Sorry about that.
Okay, and did you want to say something? Okay.
One of my favorites of all time, and I think you're probably responsible for it, is when George Bush is giving a speech and he refers to the Muslimin, which is a term for Muslim. Do you have that one?
I don't have it handy, but I know the reversal you're referring to. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, you do songs.
Yeah.
There's a song by ELO where it's there's backwards speech.
Is that Fire on High? Do you have that one?
Yeah,
that's a
I've got that. If you have that, I want to hear it. What you're saying.
Yeah. It's the song is called Fire on High. It's a deliberate, intentional backward basket.
Oh, he's going to play it. Don't give it away. He's going to play it. We've got it.
Okay, here it is. Here. And the backwards is simply the music is reversible, but time is not. Turn back, turn back, turn back.
The music is reversible, but time. Turn back.
That's so creepy.
I just want to say that in music, that was obviously recorded and as speech, and they flipped the reels over.
Right.
Now, what Led Zeppelin did was the guy verbalized, is there a bustle in your head going? If he verbalized something that might be something backwards, and that's a little bit more
That's
research.
Yeah, right. Well, and there's two different types that some people get confused about. There is intentional backward blasting, which is what I just played there, and that's where they've done it recorded at the studio level. And then you have the unintentional reverse, which I call reverse speech, which have in both speech as well as music.
Do you have Hotel California?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Oh, this is my favorite. This is another one of my favorite ones. This is a hard one, though. I mean, and a lot of people say, Clyde, you're full of shit, but I swear to God, I found this reversal when I was a kid, and I went, shit. It actually says, and I'm going to try it, and you can correct me on this, it's been a while since I reversed it. It's, Satan had help, he organized his own religion, it was delicious, he put it in a pot and served it to his sons and threw it away. Is that right?
I haven't got
It's the longest fucking reversal. Longest reversal in the history of rock and roll.
All right, here we go.
Okay, now see if you hear, Satan had help, he organized his own religion, it was delicious, he put it in a pot, he served it to his sons and threw it away. I swear I heard that on acid.
All right, see if you
There's the problem, Clyde. Here we go. Yeah, you heard that. You organized the Satan, hell. You organized. It was delicious.
There you go.
Do you have that? You stop there?
I'll have to pay the whole lot.
It was delicious. I swear to God.
This track is
Okay, here we go. I'll even sing along. Because I swear I heard this. It was pot or something, I don't know.
You achieved ground zero.
I achieved it. Okay, there you go, ready? Satan, have help. You organized something. It was delicious. Is that right to go? And then it says he served it a pot, served his sons, and then threw it away. I swear to God.
Clyde.
I swear to Satan. What?
You know what's scary is that VH1 could probably get the reel from that recording and just isolate the vocal track and screw all the rest of the music, and you can hear it verbatim.
I would buy Satan Had Help. He organized. I'd love this. In fact, I'm working with the guy who created the Eagles Hotel California album cover. His name is Dave Kosh. And he actually, the rumors about Anton LaVey being in the tower is all bullshit. And he even did the Abbey Road cover, and he said that the whole 28F thing was bullshit.
A lot of the 70s classic rock music is now available on VH1, where the guys go onto the board and start isolating tracks of your favorite bands.
Oh, good. So we get to hear it without all the bullshit?
Yeah,
so
you can hear Queen do their Galileo, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, yeah, Queen. Do you have Queen? Do you have the Queen, the Another One Bites the Dust?
Yes.
Oh my God, have you guys heard the Another One Bites the Dust? Well, those of you that haven't, man, you're in for a treat.
Yeah, this was a very popular song by the religious fundamentalists. They used to play this one at all their...
I love playing songs backwards. It's a blast.
Okay, here we go. And here we go, chords.
Are you ready? Hey, are you ready to this? Are you hanging on the edge of your seat? I was no way to pull it. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one goes, and another one goes. Another one bites the dust. Hey, we'll get you too. Another one bites the dust.
And it says, decide to smoke marijuana, and then right at the end it says, take some acid. So here we go.
Take some acid. I love that ending. Take some acid. Yeah. That's how you're getting this message. Go ahead, Scott.
Since we're on the whole pre-recorded stuff and stuff for entertainment or whatever, I'm a big fan of David Lynch, and he in Twin Peaks there was a alternate universe known as the Black Lodge, and in the Black Lodge, everybody in there spoke. They recorded the dialogue phonetically backwards and played it back, slowed up, forwards. And I'm curious if you've ever taken the pieces. Because in the show, there's some really, really emotional moments by all the characters involved that were in the Black Lodge, especially in the series finale. And I'm just curious if you ever played with that at all.
No, I never have. Sorry.
I do know that Carl Stryken, the guy that was in that part. He played one of the characters, the guy that played Lurch in the Addams Family. He still has memorized all of that reversal, and he did it for me when we were in Park City.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
The giant in that show.
Yeah.
He's good dude.
Yeah, it's Carl Stryken, the guy that played Lurch in the Addams Family. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be very curious to see what comes out of that, especially from Lynch's mind.
Amazing. He said that it was amazing. He said that he thought that Lynch was brilliant. He thought that Lynch was brilliant with that. Go ahead.
Hey, David, what's your last name again?
Oates.
David Oates. Thank you so much for coming to Portland. It's ironic that he said David Lynch, man, because you sound like David Icke.
Oh, yes.
But you look like David Lynch.
Thank you. I think.
No, you don't look like David Lynch. You look like the guy on Lost Highway, the creepy guy.
Oh, really?
Okay. Do you have any more? We're going to get ready to wrap up here. We're going to play a few more, and then we're going to set David off. What do you think, David John Oates? Do you like this tonight? I think the most special thing of all is he come all the way from Australia. I haven't seen David in a long time. He's here tonight, and I really thank you all for coming out and supporting Ground Zero Lounge, especially with David John Oates here. It's not every day you get someone like David who's been on several radio talk shows all over the country, including Ground Zero, and especially, I mean, he and I have got a lot of old times together. We've done all kinds of reversals, and we've freaked a lot of people out. We've done shows before.
Oh yeah, we've done a lot of shows.
We did shows in Gresham. We did shows all over.
Yeah, Salt Lake City.
Big time in Gresham. Cowboys loved us. You want to say something quick?
I was hoping before you close, I mean, Clyde, you're working on a project that has to do with space and NASA.
Yeah, I'm working with the Lucifer project, yes.
Right, okay. David, I remember the old reversals that you have on NASA. There was one that relates to asteroids. Okay, and I've been looking at the news for years, waiting for the
They're all saying it's out there.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the one.
Yeah. Do you happen to have that?
No, I don't have it handy.
You don't have any space reversals?
Okay, yeah, but basically these two NASA scientists are on Art Bell. We're talking about the threat of asteroids, and they say backwards, nuke it. They're all saying it's out there.
Yeah.
Okay, but maybe they weren't even talking about asteroids.
You either talking about Saturn,
Maybe. Who knows?
Because they're going to be dropping, for those of you that don't know, they're going to be dropping a plutonium, they're going to be dropping the Cassini spacecraft into Saturn. That'll be happening July 8th, actually July 7th, 2008. It's going to be 72 pounds of plutonium. It's going to go in the middle, and it may explode, and if it does, it could ignite Saturn. And it's going to cause a lot of shit. And you know, everybody who tells me, oh, this is all bullshit, I want to tell you something. 2012 is supposed to be coming, and the UN just reported that the resources of the planet are being depleted, and they're being depleted so fast that they say that we don't have 15 years. Right now, Atlanta, Georgia has about 2 months tops of water left. And we're going to have to give them water because they don't have a plan B. And they're wasting water right now. The resources in California right now have been burnt up. I just did an interview with Mayor Tom Potter last Saturday about Top Off and about what really went on in Top Off. Well, you can hear all the other bullshit being spewed out by other people, but you can go to IdeoCast this next week, and you'll be able to hear what Tom Potter had to say about what Top Off was really about. It was about natural disasters. It was about the possibility of earthquakes and fires here in the Northwest. And he said it was very interesting to note that after Top Off happened, the situation in California happened, and now Governor Schwarzenegger has to evaluate the natural disaster, which was California. He said California was just one in many, and he says terrorism is not the problem. Natural disasters are. And they're coming. They're coming.
Let's do the reverse on Tom Potter.
We can reverse Tom Potter. I don't have the time. I may do it this weekend. Who knows? Go ahead.
Okay, first, also to back that up, about 9 months ago, you were talking about the bees dying off, and everybody said you were nuts, and you were just kind of making things up, and that wasn't true. If you check a lot of the major news sites right now, some of their top headlines in environmental sciences are why are the bees dying and what's going to happen for us.
We have here at Ground Zero Lounge, we break some of the weirdest stories. And people think we're crazy and they want to heckle and everything else, but let me tell you, man, you're getting it raw right here. I mean, David, when was the last time you were on the radio?
Oh, on the radio?
Yeah.
Gee, it's been a while. A few months.
So it's like, it's been a while since you've been on the radio, and now we're bringing you back out again, and you're live here with an audience.
Yes.
And so this has been a while since reverse speech has actually been in America, right?
Oh, yeah. There's been no significant movement in America for years. Now, I'm hoping to change that. This trip is coming back to get reverse speech grounded here again.
Exactly. Are you gonna put your headquarters back in Portland again like you had before?
Yeah, I am.
So he's bringing reverse speech here to Portland, Oregon for headquarters. So give him a hand for that. This is where it's happening, man. Portland, Oregon. This crowd is where it's all at. Go ahead.
Well, then I wanted to ask David one final question. Have you ever reversed some of Clyde's speech, and hear what comes out of that weak little heart?
We did do some reversals on you.
Yes.
Actually, that was.
I can remember them well. Yeah. Some of the things that, and he doesn't have them available because I don't think because I don't like to do my reversals in public. But I can tell you what some of them said. There were some reversals that he did on me, and some of them were basically the one that I remember the most was Satan is eating this planet, and it was something that It's not, it was metaphoric in my opinion, but the idea is that there are those elitists out there, those people in power who are depleting the resources of the planet. And they blame it on you, okay? The planet's fucked up, it's your fault, and you are the ones that are going to have to pay for it. No, the planet is fucked up because of them, not because of you. They've been doing it all along, and now they're blaming it on you, and now they're expecting you to do all the work to get it back to normal again, when in reality, it's a struggle that's never going to make a leap in consciousness. No, it's not going to happen. Why? Because they lured us into this trap, and now we're stuck in this trap. What you need to do is pay attention to what they're really saying. Listen to what George Bush has to say. In fact, one of the things that prompted me to come and to talk to David and see if he'd come and do the show was that Bush was speaking at a conference, and they asked him about Vladimir Putin and him wanting to step down to prime minister so he can retain power in Russia. And you know what Bush said?
I'm thinking of that.
He said, I'm thinking of that myself. Now, people will laugh and say, oh, he was joking. But, you know, I was in New York City in September of 2000 at the Empire Hotel when George W. Bush, the man who would be president, was speaking to a group of broadcasters, and he said, if you say anything bad about me, I will come down hard on you, because I will be in charge of the FCC. Now look where we are now, people. This guy, he makes these little jokes, and I wish that we would reverse him more. But you know what? Sometimes reversing a moron, garbage in, garbage out, it's the same fucking thing, back and forward. And it just comes and spews, and it's just shit coming out of every candidate, and you learn more about the character of these people, and you just want to run away. And you know, a lot of people in local governments are seeing the bullshit too, and that's why you're not seeing people jumping at the chance to run for mayor or run for Congress or run, because they know exactly where it's going to end up. And so you've got to change it yourself. What do you got? Okay, I've been handed something to read. So, me being old, I gotta get my glasses and read it.
It changes every part of history.
Can you find another reversal while I'm trying to find my glasses? And then we'll wrap this up. She's been begging me to read this all night.
All right, talking about Bush here, here's one of George Bush.
For America, this is a nightmare scenario. For the enemy, this is the objective. Chaos is the greatest ally, their greatest ally in this struggle. And out of chaos in Iraq would emerge an emboldened enemy with new safe havens.
So he's spinning his Iraq line backwards. He says, our lies are no good now.
Our lies are never good now. Our lies are never good now. Our lies are never good now.
There you go. Now you've got for her speech. Okay, go for it, Clyde.
Okay, she wanted me to read this, and I don't know why, but I'm going to read it. Okay, what it talks about here is how back in the days of the Japanese putting in camps, how people now are being put into camps. Crime and poverty go hand in hand with Asiatic labor, how Japanese immigration comes to override laws, brown men are made citizens illegally, Japanese are menace to American women, brown men. It was all evil in the public schools about, it's all talking about the perils. And the racism and the words that we all seem to hold, all the hatred that we hold inside of us regarding how we feel about each other, basically is what it says. Is that what you wanted me to read? And then it's what's inside of us that matters. I just saw a film that I hadn't seen in a while called American Psycho. Has anybody seen that film by applause? And how, yeah, exactly. I mean, it was about the Bush administration, and it was done way back when, even before Bush administration came out. And it basically says, you know, my confession means nothing because what's inside of me is what matters. What's inside of us, that dark center of us, that center of us, either we're putting light in there or we're putting darkness in there. And we're constantly conditioning ourselves either with darkness or light. And what you decide to bring out is what's important. What's coming at you is coming from within you. So if all you see is shit in the world, then maybe you should take a look at all the shit that's in you. And if you're seeing some good things happening and seeing some things change, maybe it's time we should get on with our lives and realize there are bigger monsters out there than the ones we sit and bitch about all the time. And we can do it. I mean, you know, we're gonna have to be strong to fight those dragons that are waiting in the wings. And people who still wallow away in their victimhood about stuff that happened 8, 9 years ago, they're the ones that are just going to be laughed at and ridiculed. And we need to stand up and say, fuck that. We know what's going on inside each and every one of those politicians, and we're going to make the change ourselves. Hell, vote for yourselves for president. You are the ones that are going to take charge. Even Mayor Potter said, you know, if there's a natural disaster, everyone's going to expect a fire truck at their doorstep. You're not going to get one. You're not going to get a fire truck or a police officer. You know what you're going to get? You're going to get someone telling you, fend for yourself. Get yourself a 72-hour kit. Prepare yourself for what's about to go down. And that's important. What do you say?
Is Mayor Potter more worried about us, or is he more worried about the new Macy's? That would be the first question. Second for you.
You know, and I'll tell you what, you know, the mayor's getting a lot of shit for the Cesar Chavez thing. You know, that's bullshit, and I'll tell you why, because that's really not important right now. What he was involved with he was very frank about what's going on with his top-off thing. And what you get is the media spin. I'm giving you something raw, okay? And you're going to hear it raw. No, you are getting a media spin, and I'll tell you why. How many people think that Noble Resolve was done here in Portland? Not very many. You know what? It wasn't. It wasn't. That was something that he told me. He said the media had spun that it was done here. It wasn't. What was done here was top-off 4. And how many people thought that there was going to be a bomb that went off here was basically, it was regurgitated and started by a group that he talked about. I'll let you hear the interview. It was started by a group of people that wanted it to happen. And they were going to make sure it was going to happen. So, I mean, there are a lot of things that you don't know about that the mayor gets tacked to, or even someone else gets tacked to.
Well, my only comment on that would be that I work for a union downtown. We're activists, and we put those banners up and stuff. I deal with these people each and every day. All those people that walk in and out of those buildings. I can promise you one thing right now. Nothing that goes on down there is for you and me.
That's not. I agree with you. But the truth of the matter is why do you think he's leaving? He's not going to run for mayor anymore. And why did he tell the Joint Terrorism Task Force to go fuck themselves? Because they're corrupt. They're going. They're leaving, and these people are going away. You know, we can all sit there and we can all point fingers at certain attitudes. You're right. It's all for them. I agree with you. But, you know, it's all going away. You know why it's going away? Because smart people are pushing it away. It's the smart people that are pushing away. The people that aren't pushing away, they're just bitching about it, nothing's going to happen. There's going to be no leap of consciousness bitching about it. You got to push it away.
Would that be like the Portland Business Alliance? Or?
I don't know. This isn't about Portland, this is about the world.
Okay, about the world, I was going to ask your gentleman here, how much time have you spent interpreting what animals have to say in terms of reversals and that type of thing? And do you think that they are more highly interpreted than we are?
I've done very, very few work on that. All I've got is about a half dozen examples.
What he's saying, I think, is he's asking, do you think animals are smart and do they pick up the language? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I think. I think that they're more highly interpreted and picking up on us as opposed we are to them.
Yeah, I think they are too. Yeah, they have a stronger connection with us than we give them credit for.
So you haven't spent much time on that then in terms
He's still experimenting with animals right now. But it's amazing to see, though, that these animals do have an ability to somehow pick up those languages.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Thank you. Thank you so much. David, is there any reversal you want to end with tonight? We got to wrap it up.
No, I think that's
It's about all?
Yeah, that's about all.
Well, David, what now? Where are you going to go to next?
I'm off to Seattle next weekend for a series of lectures. I'm getting a training class started. If anyone is interested in learning this technology or doing it as a career, my next class starts on November the 24th. It's online, so you can do it online. Go to our website, reversespeech.com, for all the details.
David John Oates, all the way from Adelaide, Australia. Thank you so much for coming to the Ground Zero Lounge. Thank you, people, for coming out, participating. Let's hear it loud. And thanks, IdeoCast. Thank you, Dante. Good night. Karaoke from Hell is up next. Stay tuned. We'll be here.